Come on, man. Come on, man. That's no good. How dare you, man?
Hello.
I am so glad we have our in-house fog machine.
Yes, exactly.
He's also my co-host.
Yes.
Jordan
Well,
Bucklew, everybody.
It's doctor's orders.
Jordan just ripped a fat cloud right in front of my camera.
You know what's
before we started.
I
He was
don't
like,
mind-
"Oh shit, fuck."
I don't mind saying it on this. Is like there's a medication that I take, and my doctor was like, he always asks like, what's your nicotine intake like? And I'm like, it's constant. It's a constant thing that's going on all the
Yeah.
time. And he's like, well, I'm not telling you that it's a good thing that you're doing this, but the medication you take is actually potentiated pretty well by nicotine. So
Yes. He also said, "Don't tell Sean this."
because he doesn't
And
know
what's
you.
the first thing you do?
Doctor's orders, Sean. Doctor's orders.
That's my favorite part about it.
Yeah. But so you were saying, first off, we had a quick title change while this is going over because now it's Wet Ass Pelosi.
Yeah, I left that comment in the chat, and Jordan was like, "Fuck, we should have titled the episode that." And I was like, "You can change it right now."
What sexual act is a Wet Ass Pelosi?
That is disgusting. It's when you...
When you go down on a girl that's just been fisted.
Ew, God, that
Yeah.
sounds disgusting. Imagine like she's all turned inside out. I wouldn't go down on me
Or
if my butthole was just fisted.
Or you wear like fake teeth and go down on somebody after they've been fisted.
Oh my God.
Because I don't know what's going on with her, but we'll talk about her a little bit later.
She's blindfolded with a kente cloth.
Exactly. So I have some really good news. Trump found emojis.
He started using them.
Yeah.
It's really, honestly, when you sent me this, it was really incredible. I didn't think it was, I thought it was a meme account.
Yeah.
He says, the Dow Jones Industrial just closed above 29,000. You are so lucky to have me as your president. Winky face emoji. With Joe Biden, it would crash. Sad face.
I
Unreal.
love this. I love this timeline. This made me laugh so hard because like I don't think with this kind of thing there's a reason why he does this kind of stuff, and I think that it's like because his tweets are such a focus of attention, him using emojis are there's probably already a think piece about it, about how it's bad or something. I don't know, but I just found
it's digital blackface to use that emoji.
Right. I just found it so like cutesy and ridiculous. Like I don't know. There's things he does that, like this that just make me laugh so fucking hard.
He's appropriating millennial culture.
Absolutely, yes. How do you does it? Well, you're a cusper. So
I am a cusper.
cusper.
Yeah, that sounds gross.
Cusper the friendly ghost.
I'm a cusper and a doomer.
Yeah, so I meant to ask you why are you feeling doomery?
I'm trying not to be. That's the thing, because when you're a doomer, it's like I just watched this really amazing, like thorough video essay on the rise of the doomer by this girl named Sarah Zed. She does these video essays on very niche things. Like she did the doomer. She did. Do you remember DashCon?
Yeah.
She did an entire 45-minute video on that.
Wait, which one was that?
DashCon was the Tumblr convention that failed miserably.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, what's the fucking one that all those gay boys did? The gay e-boys? Like Cameron Dallas and all them?
That was before e-boys even existed, or like the term even. That was MagCon.
MagCon.
There was also Press Play. There was MagFest. They turned it into like a music festival or whatever. But Sarah Zed, she's made these really amazing videos. Another one on the Onceler, which was another Tumblr experience.
Did they ever
phenomenon.
work out any of these Tumblr conventions?
Oh, no, never.
Yeah.
But DashCon, it was so awful. But she did this video on the rise of the doomer.
Mm-hmm.
She posted like the origin of it. It started on 4chan as that meme face of the dude in the hoodie. But also the dude in the hoodie with the cigarette.
Oh yeah.
The first ever post of it was that meme dude, that face when meme, that guy, but made to look like sad or whatever.
Which I think probably was started by Pepe and Sad Pepe.
Yeah, all of that whole culture or whatever, the culture of that style of meme.
Mm-hmm.
And then they created the doomer girlfriend, where she's hot, she's got the short bob, she's got black hair, she's got pale skin but rosy cheeks.
Basically looks like Shu.
Looks like Shu, exactly. She talked about the origin. She talked about what it means to be a doomer now, because it started on 4chan, but now it's spread to the entire internet because anyone can be a doomer, not just a 4chan user.
Right.
And basically it made me think like, wow, I'm so disheartened with the state of the world right now that I have no interest whatsoever in participating in anything. But luckily, she offered some very lovely solutions to how to pull yourself out of doomerism.
So this
Capital D doomerism.
You watched this
is what it
video after you texted me about being doomer pilled?
is. I watched it before.
Oh, before. Okay, so what was her solution?
It made
then?
me think, oh my god, I'm a fucking doomer. Her solution is...
How could our generation not be right now?
I know, it
You know.
sucks. But she made me realize that my hobbies are what get you out of doomerism.
Yeah, of
so,
course.
So little things in your life, like the things that I do, like sewing, especially things that she said, especially things that help you create stuff, sewing, writing music,
Yeah.
just other things that you can do, taking care of plants, growing lotus flowers like Geo is currently.
I saw that.
That kind of thing, or having like an aquarium.
Mhm.
She mentioned all of these things that can help you out of being a doomer.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
it's like, I don't really know about aquariums and stuff, but like, generally, because like we hung out.
Fuck them
We
fish.
had a beach day with Perry, and Perry was telling us how much work a saltwater aquarium was.
Oh, that's right.
And I was like, I think that would just stress me out. But creating music and being creative, it's like in lieu of religion, it's like the most sort of God, like connection to God, for lack of a better term, like something bigger,
Yeah.
And I think that like
It's spiritual.
spiritual thing.
It's like personal healing.
Mm-hmm.
It does something to your soul
Yeah,
rather than something to your brain.
you're right. Exactly.
And doomerism is like you go on Twitter and you tweet just a friendly reminder that the world is burning and there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
That's modern doomerism.
Right.
And sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes I like those tweets.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate feeling that way. I don't want to feel that way anymore.
I think you have your dad's DNA too, who's like a brilliant mechanic, and I think that like it's transferred into sewing for you. And so I think that when I worked on cars and stuff, or on boat engines and any other job that I've had, it felt very good to start a task that had an endpoint, because so few things in life do have an endpoint
Yeah.
or like a true finality to it. And so, and usually these tasks are mundane, but that's kind of a mantra within itself, which is lovely. And then you have an endpoint that with a satisfied finished product that either is clothing or a car that now works or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Or a
so-
custom silicone dildo. Anything like that that
Exactly.
can get you creating stuff can pull you out of capital D doomerism.
and also squank your holes,
Yep, exactly.
which there is a correlation between getting out of being doomer pilled and hole squanking.
You think so?
Mhm.
Wow. That's interesting. I hadn't explored that yet, so
Well, yeah,
we will.
we'll go spelunking.
We will.
Okay, so where are we at here? Oh, so here's the video of Nancy Pelosi in the hair salon.
Yes.
So if you guys don't know, Nancy Pelosi has been browbeating us in her state about wearing masks and not opening all these businesses that are now permanently closing. And then she decided that she needed to get her hair done. So this is her walking around
Security
without a
camera
mask.
footage.
Yep.
Oh my god.
So video captures a maskless Speaker Pelosi using San Francisco hair salon that has been shuttered by government for months for blowout. And like,
Yeah, she had a blowout. She shit her pants. It went everywhere.
Exactly.
That's what this video is about.
yeah, well, she had two different types of blowouts.
That's why she's so vulnerable.
because she had her hair blown out, and then she's also blown out her O-ring, which is her asshole.
Oh my god.
So because I don't even know how she's alive, and her explanation is fucking hilarious, which I'll show you in a minute. But there's just this. People are tweeting about like we shouldn't be talking about this. This is so emblematic of such a humongous problem. Of like, could it be any more obvious that they see themselves as more important than us?
Above the law,
Above the law, above
the caste system.
and just that's the thing, right? And like it would send so much of a better signal if you, especially if you were a woman politician, letting your shit just go crazy and be like, and like also bringing it up every time that you're gonna morally grandstand about keeping things shut for the sake of health, being like, look, like my roots are showing, I look like shit because I'm not going to go participate in which you can't participate in. But then this comes on the heels of that Lori Lightfoot woman doing it as well, the mayor of Chicago. And it's like, and then her explanation was like, well, I'm on TV all the time, so which she's not. But
who is that congresswoman who wears wigs? and has those glasses. I think she has like red glasses.
I don't know.
Oh, she wears like mint colored wigs and like pink colored wigs and blonde wigs.
She must not be a very important one because I don't.
I know
can't
she was in the news for like a millisecond because somebody called her out for wearing wigs. She was like, I look fabulous or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing
But
too is like you
Nancy
could wear
do that.
wigs. Yeah. And I'm actually surprised she's not wearing one.
You'd
But
probably I know she should be bald by now.
so here's her explanation.
Oh God.
I don't. The volume's
I haven't seen
really
this
low
yet.
on this, so
Oh,
I take responsibility for
yeah, it's in one ear.
the word of a neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years many times, and that when they said, well, we're able to accommodate people one person at a time, and that we can set up that time, I trusted that. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility
It was a
for
setup.
falling for a setup. And that's all I'm going to say on that.
I take responsibility for falling for a setup.
Bitch, are you for real?
I mean, it's so
What?
It's so brazenly like I don't know. It's like
Take fucking responsibility for your actions.
no, just for being set up.
I cannot fucking believe that is unreal.
And it's like, bitch, like have your stylist come to your house.
Yeah. Or, as Greg says, learn to do it yourself. The thing that really kills me as a blowout is literally just a blow dryer technique. That anyone with a blow dryer can learn to do it at home. It does not require professional facilities. It's
DCK Punk says, I lose hundreds of dollars a year because of blowouts. I do too. It's changing pants after I have day drinking shits.
and you don't keep the pants, you
No,
throw them away.
It's kind of like that. I forgot that rapper that he like only wears like a new T-shirt and then just throws it away.
I thought that was Idris Elba.
I don't know. Maybe there's a handful
who
of
buys a new T-shirt
handsome
every
black
time.
men that do that.
It was a handsome black man. I know that for sure.
But yeah. So I don't know. It's so brazenly insane. Like
Right.
it's crazy because like now that I've heard it the second time, this is like the third time I guess I've heard it. I'm like now at more of a loss of words than I was when I initially heard it.
Yeah.
It's
You were saying before we started, Nancy is like the most hateable
she is.
person in the world.
It's
right now.
almost as if she's like been cast as the villain in a TV show.
But she's like the secret villain, you know?
Right. It's like the soap
meme,
opera, or like the soap opera where the stinger comes in like dun dun dun. And it kind of like zooms in on her face, and she's like looks at the camera knowingly.
Yeah. So like it's that meme of like Avatar's main villain. It's probably been a meme in that.
Every
sense.
time she comes in, it should play Azula's sound.
Should-
Shing.
Yeah, exactly. She should have. We should edit a video with Nancy Pelosi, and every time she like does something,
Yeah.
or looks at the camera, we can put in that little
Shing.
that
Because
yeah,
it is
that
it is
dink.
insane to me. It's like because this isn't the first time she's done shit like that, and also on top of that, she denied the extension of unemployment benefits. She went on fucking vacation. Like she keeps not coming to a deal because it's all about the post office, and she says she doesn't want to lump the two things together for some fucking reason. The amount of money they're demanding is insane. The Republicans, to their credit, have been willing to compromise several times, and they keep saying no. And then meanwhile, she's getting Brazilian blowouts while like none of us can actually even access salons if we had money. And so it's just so grotesque. And like, yeah, as being the most hateable politician, it's like I hate her more than Kamala Harris. Like I really do. And you know, it's like why even people always like people make the argument of like I've heard it a lot of different people criticize for you're carrying water for Trump because you don't criticize him. You don't need anybody else doing that. There's literally
Right.
tune into any bit of entertainment that isn't Fox News and you'll get just an earful of that.
Yeah.
And so
here's your fill, Piggy.
right. Yeah, here's your fill
Your
of
slop,
Trump dunks and
disgusting
whatever the fuck else.
carrot chunks,
Where you can
and-
hear April Ryan on CNN saying that Trump has started a race war
yeah,
in mostly white Portland. It's just the
yeah,
most.
here's your kibble.
Yeah. Yeah. Have a snack, slut.
And we were talking. It all started with Nancy doing that stupid
Yes.
clap,
And then
the paper tear.
which the clap. I was saying to you before we started that no one was quite sure, like, because she's like a very probably dementiaed out, like she's just a crypt keeper person. She's like she's got serious physical
She's older
problems.
than Biden.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, she's been in politics for forever. Like she's like
Yeah.
you know, as long as my parents have been alive almost. But
let's enforce term limits.
Yeah.
We have to instate them first, but you should not be a senator for longer than 8 years, and you shouldn't be a representative for longer than like 6.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no fucking way.
Crazy.
So the hand clap, you could kind of be like, well, you know, her body is just a mess. So like maybe that was a comfortable position for her to clap. But then with this dramatic speech tear after Trump gave his, I don't know, State of the Union or what it was, and then you saw the pre-Thorne things, because she had been planning the stunt since the very beginning.
It was fake news from the start.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I can believe she would do that. But I think Nancy was the harbinger of the end of 2020. Like things went downhill because she wanted to get a slam dunk. She signed a deal with like a monkey. She had a monkey paw. She broke one of its fingers or whatever and wished to get a slam dunk on Trump a few times and cursed the entire world.
And I like this. I like this theory.
Monkey paw.
But she
took Joe Biden's his severed hand and broke his fingers. As the Biden paw.
Pelosi, you get to be the most hateable politician in the country, but it'll also make Joe Biden's brain turn to pudding.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win for her. I want to make the Democrats so unattractive that they could lose to a guy that shits on a golden toilet and talked about fucking his daughter.
They're gonna need me.
Yeah, it's insane. It's also, this is what's so crazy too. So that video comes out, and again, like, it is important because Trump also passed eviction moratoriums on renters. That is so progressive. Mm-hmm. Like it's
today, right?
Today.
He literally made it so that until the end of the year, renters who make $99,000 or less cannot be evicted.
Right. And there are, I mean, and he did it through the CDC. So it's like, it's now seen as like a health issue. So I really tried to find holes in it. The only hole is that like you probably will theoretically owe a lump sum by the end of it. But unless
you have a cool landlord.
There's really no way for him to, like, he only has so much power. But like in the meantime, it's like we have to just keep kicking the can down like this until we can find out what the new normal is going to be. So it was a very good thing. And so she's going into hair salons while we're all dying and poor, and he's doing that. So it's like, Jimmy Dore always brings this up, and it is true. It's like it's so crazy, like, and it shows how entrenched like this neoliberal shit is in terms of corporate interest when you're getting outflanked to the left by Trump. You know, it's fucking crazy, and it just goes to show like either how little you care about the American populace or how little you know, and either one is so gay. it's just so fucking ridiculous.
True, and like it's clear that the rational thing to think is that like homelessness would spread COVID more than it already has. Mm-hmm. So people getting evicted, 20% of people were at the risk of getting evicted
30%.
By the end of this month. Yeah, 30%.
Yeah.
I heard that from our friend at Clear Value Tax. I
love that guy.
I don't know
Asian
his
friend.
name.
He never says it.
No, but he's the dude at Clear Value. I think it's Clear Value Tax.
I love him too.
His YouTube channel.
So we found this YouTube guy that he gives like stimulus updates every day, pretty much every day.
Yeah, and other news too.
Well,
in regards to, like,
he started doing that new. Like that's a new thing he started doing because he didn't originally do that. But I think he wants to make his videos a little longer. And he's so adorable because he really does his best to just tell you what's happening. And he's like, this is my opinion. This is just what's happening.
He does a brief overview at the beginning of all the news for the day in like 30 seconds or so. Mm-hmm. And then he does about 6 or 7 more minutes on that news. It's great. He also ran a poll on who should win the fucking, or who's leading in the presidential race. Mm-hmm. Biden. So there was that poll that Biden was ahead by 8 points or something.
Yeah.
They ran a poll. He was only ahead by 4, and he got like 80,000 votes from all around the country.
Right.
So they're conducting another. I don't think they've opened it yet, but they conducted one today in terms of like, what do you think is the most important thing for this new stimulus bill? And most people voted, of course, the checks. And then everybody else, or like a lot of other choices, were, unemployment extensions, like moratorium on eviction and stuff. Like what should be most important in this bill? And obviously people are in need of money, even those who are not on unemployment, especially those who are not on unemployment. They're not getting paid at all right now if they don't have jobs, if they didn't have jobs before, or they were making money under the table or something, they need that stimulus check.
And yeah, and sorry, this Nancy Pelosi. It's like what's so crazy about this Pelosi thing
By all
too
means.
is that like the people that I felt as sorry for myself as I can, but and like also I mean we've found workarounds to kind of like we're fine, but it's like I think about people like massage therapists, salon workers, like people barbers, like these kinds of jobs that require close physical contact, and they're like
sex workers.
Well,
drag queens.
Now that OnlyFans is now sex work, which it's so not.
Oh, but we should talk about fucking Bella Thorne.
Yeah, we should. Let's go ahead and go into that because I mean,
I just know her pussy stinks. I just know it.
I've met her actually.
Oh really? Oh yeah, you have
worked for her, which is really.
So what's the tea?
She was
does it stink?
I don't. Yeah, it was horrible. It was. I could smell it through her jeans. No, she did this horrible movie with. I don't really care about saying it because it took so long to come out that no one cared about it. But she did this horrible movie with Patrick Schwarzenegger, who was a terrible actor. And then she's got some. I've forgotten the premise of the movie, but the premise is she has some sort of disorder where she can't go out in the sun, so she becomes a songwriter, and so we wrote all the songs for her record.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be combined with the movie as like her sort of breakout career, but she was so bad at singing that my colleague had to like mimic her voice and did such a good job that when Bella Thorne heard it, she's like, wow, you guys make me sound really good. And she had no idea that we were like, oh, thank God.
Oh my God.
But I mean, just to preface this whole thing, because she was really fucking nice, you know?
Yeah,
really
of course,
nice.
Of course.
And I'm so like I'm so out of Hollywood. And I probably, for the rest of my life, that I would tell you if she was a piece of shit, but she wasn't.
She started running in like social media circles not too long ago. Well, a couple years ago.
My ex knew her really well too.
Yeah, so that's sort of her. She became sort of that. So the only thing that anybody from my generation really recognizes her from is that
like an influencer kind of thing.
That TV show Shake It Up.
Oh, it was like a Disney thing.
It was a Disney show, a kids show on Disney, where she and Zendaya were dance partners or whatever on this TV show on Shake It Up Chicago.
Okay.
You know? And I think they were sisters or something. I don't know.
Zendaya black?
I think they were like stepsisters.
Okay.
They were Eskimo sisters.
Yes. Meaning they scissored on the show, which probably would have too much to the excitement of Disney executives, which is actually what I want to talk about. Red Scare had the funniest fucking line I've ever heard on their. I think it's only on their Patreon.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Which they were like, and they were referencing people like Bella Thorne, and we'll get into like this whole OnlyFans scandal with her. Anna said it's the molestation to borderline personality disorder pipeline with all of these like child actors who get molested.
Oh my God.
And like
it's why we have people who have breakdowns like Lindsay Lohan,
Amanda
like Britney
Bynes.
Spears, Amanda Bynes.
Yeah, they all diddled, all of them.
Molestation. She's so
molestation to borderline pipeline.
It's awful, hilarious, but it's the truth.
Yeah, it's absolutely the truth. So I have like a kind of a tertiary grasp of this whole thing. So essentially, she started an OnlyFans with the idea.
A tertiary grasp, is that where you grab somebody with your third arm?
Exactly. Yes.
You choke them with an arm shooting out of your chest.
Exactly.
Listen here. That's a
tertiary. That one really got you, didn't it?
It's so stupid. It bursts out of your chest. Okay, sorry. Tertiary grasp. Go ahead.
So Gio's asking what happened to Amanda Bynes. So she, her parents got guardianship of her, and she's on medication now, and apparently she's doing all right.
Oh yeah, she's doing great.
Yeah.
Well, it's like she tweeted about like she wanted Drake to murder her pussy.
Yeah.
And we all think that, but we don't want to say it out loud on Twitter.
Drake's eyes are like here. They're like he's
got the hammerhead shark eye.
Totally does. So anyway, yeah, and then she started calling him ugly, and then she like threw a bong out the window. She had a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Bella Thorne started an OnlyFans with the understanding that it would show nude photos of her, even though we've already seen them with the fappening thing.
Oh, that's right.
We've seen her tits anyway. I don't really know what else. I never like. I think I might have looked at like Amber Heard's hole, but I think that was like as far as I got. And I'm like, I don't really care about this. Like that was the only like bit of fappening.
Amber Heard what?
Amber Heard a hole.
Amber Heard a hole.
Yeah. So so she joined it, instantly made about $2 million.
Yeah.
And then she claimed that it was part of a documentary she was working on with Sean Baker, the guy who made Florida Project and Tangerine.
Oh.
But then he came out on Twitter and had this like very gross, like I'm an ally and she has nothing to do with me. It was like weird, like white guy.
She's your friend.
It was weird. It was really weird and gay. So he claims he has nothing to do with it. And then so like I think she needed money and she got it. She didn't release any. She released like some
It's
really,
a bikini photo.
Yeah, benign bikini photos that don't really do anything. But the thing that's kind of fucked up is that it made OnlyFans change their like terms on a few things. And I forgot all of them, but one of the ones that I think would impact people who are on there quite a bit is now payouts are monthly and not bi-monthly. And that's, I don't know why they really felt like making that decision.
I think it's because OnlyFans did not have the money to pay out Bella Thorne. So they have to pay a share or whatever to Bella Thorne. The amount of money or something like that they were paying out to other creators on OnlyFans was more than what they could afford, and so they couldn't pay Bella Thorne as far as from what I understand.
Okay, like is that because that doesn't really logically make sense to me? Because like the money would have come in, and so they would like it's kind of like Uber. They would just take a share of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but that's what I heard, and so they've put a cap on. I think it's $100 is the maximum you can tip somebody on OnlyFans, and you cannot have a post
that would suck too.
So
like,
you can unlock posts on OnlyFans for a flat amount. You don't have to subscribe to somebody. It depends on what model the creator wants to use. Now you can't have posts that are unlockable for more than $50. Or it's the other way around, but
and like again, I have my opinions on a lot of like the simp culture thing, but at the very same time, it's like, look, if men are that fucking desperate and they think they're like a part of your life, if they give you tons of money, work it. I mean, like especially now, it's like, so I don't know that really because you could get like some fucking wealthy ass dude who's like super lonely and like would give you $500 tips on the regular, thinking that like it would have some impact on your feelings about him, and it doesn't. But simultaneously, like you should be able to work that grift. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
We talk about like exploiting men, or rather, the culture talks about exploiting men all the time. This is just a way that people can do it.
Yeah.
Particularly women who want to exploit horny or lonely men. They can do it in this way.
Right. I think gay OnlyFans is like the most pure version of it because it's literally just
it's
about
all sex. It's just
all sex, dudes busting nuts. Like it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with like I think it's very seldom a gay guy because even if you're kind of an ugly dumpy gay guy, you can get laid. It's not like, but if you're an ugly dumpy guy who's straight, and then your likelihood of getting laid, especially if you have a shitty personality, is low.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, dude, no matter who you are as a gay guy, you can get squanked. It's not a big deal.
Ayana wants to know why we're using gay as a negative thing here, as a negative term. We are gay.
We are gay. And I yeah, and I think that I find it hilarious to use it. And I also don't I don't think
we're reclaiming it.
I think anybody that claims that people using it in the context we're using it actually hurts them deeply really diminishes the progress we've made not only in the last 15 years, but also you need to relax.
When gay people use it,
particularly
particularly
faggot,
us, like it adds levity to what was once something that carried a lot of weight.
Sure.
It's what reclaiming a word does.
Right.
So if there's an 11-year-old who is still on their journey, I guess I used the number 11 because I came out at 13.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say there's a 13 or 14-year-old who's like coming to terms with it. When they come out, we want them to be comfortable enough to say things like this shit is gay because it takes the weight off of that identity.
Which was the kind of in the early 2010s was kind of the direction we seem to be moving in with no words, which I think was a good direction of how like the more verboten you make these words, the more powerful they become.
Yeah.
That phrase is almost gauche now, but it's so simple and true. I mean, but now we've made these words so vilified that they carry so much fucking power. And also like this, like, the conservative participation trophy type thing is so stupid, but it does have some merit in the sense of like people need to, because I think what's happening to people, like young people especially, is like they're finding their validation in really empty places and not learning to love themselves. So someone using gay in a context like we're using it if we were straight shouldn't have much bearing on your self-worth.
I tell my straight friends to use gay around.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, hey, fucking ease up, faggot.
Yeah, exactly.
Say gay.
Yeah.
I don't
Say
give a shit.
gay, you stupid faggot.
He's like, this sucks. I'm like, that sounds so preschool.
I
You
know.
know? Fucking say something more like with a little more taste. You
A little
know?
more joie de vivre.
Joie de vivre. You know, that little je ne sais quoi.
Exactly.
I want like some flavor.
Mhm.
You know, and when you sprinkle gay into things,
Mhm.
it adds. You know, it adds it's full body.
Simultaneously too, and I'm going to see if your experience has been the same, of like people I've known for years because of like the climate concerning gay people at the moment, and like just the loudest voices that just whine incessantly about every fucking microaggression. It's made like a lot of my friends initially, like now we've gotten out of it, like uncomfortable to bring up things that are, it's like,
Yeah,
like my
I
presence,
want people to talk to me about
and that's a
this
lot of
stuff
what it's about for
if
me
they
as
have
well.
questions.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah.
That's, oh my god, that's
And
how progress is made.
Make jokes at my expense, and I can make them back at their, like,
Yeah.
like that's another thing that has been so lost, is like I grew up with like a lot of the radio personalities and stuff, and like and they'd have different types of people on, and the way that largely it was comedians and whatever, but the camaraderie was found through mocking the differences of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's kind of true of everything. It's like, especially as males, like you do find camaraderie through like kind of teasing each other. You
That's honestly the basis of my friendship with my two guy friends.
Mhm.
It's like that I only have two friends, but it's like I go over there, I tease them, they tease me, and it's the best fucking time in the world.
know? Mhm.
That's what makes a good podcast.
Right. You read your comment? Because I don't.
Yeah, Ayana says, I'm super gay for men. I definitely don't want people to be negative about gayness. And to each their own, but
if you don't
we're
mind
going to
me-
keep saying it.
Ayana, how old are you?
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting, because I think that like if she's younger, which I have sort of a feeling she is, there's a lot of like, I'm 30, so there's like a lot of like I have seen so much progress.
You're what?
30.
That is not what your Grindr profile said.
It says 26.
Whoa.
but yeah, no. So it's like there's been like, I'm just old enough to have seen so much rapid progress in 15 years, like, which I came out at about 14, 15. So like, and dude, like you would have people on national TV, like they had like Fox News when I was 13 years old or 12 years old, had Jerry Falwell on TV that said gay people caused 9/11, which is created one of the best Christopher Hitchens moments ever, when they were cutting Christopher Hitchens off for mocking Falwell after Falwell died. He goes, if you gave him an enema, you could fit his corpse in a matchbox. Just like basically a really eloquent way of saying this guy's so full of shit. But like, yeah, so Hannity was defending this guy who literally said that 9/11 happened because gay people love each other. And so now, flash forward 15 years, where we're all terrified to even use the word gay, which isn't progress, really. Like,
Right.
we reached peak progress, like, and I'm not speaking about trans, because trans is like a separate issue to me, but with gay men in particular, because that's what I am and what I speak to,
Yeah.
I think that after gay marriage got passed, we started to regress backwards and really do a lot of damage to the work we were doing. Like that people that are much older than me that watched their friends die of AIDS did for us.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing for me to watch young
They
people.
fought for our right to say faggot.
Exactly.
Live on YouTube.
Exactly, yeah.
And if YouTube tried to fucking flag us for
Oh,
that,
that'd
we're
be- that'd be
gay
so
men.
fun.
It's
That'd be
like,
so fun.
how dare you silence two gay men
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
on this topic?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, if you're in the non-binary realm, you're probably not going to like a lot, because there's a level of ideological, I don't have a better word for this, baggage that comes with the non-binary thing that like you can't, it seems as if, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can't really deviate from a certain line of thinking if that's the identity you're embodying. And so you may not like us, to be honest, because like we really started this channel to really just sort of undo, because I was so frustrated with the gay community. And it's mostly what our early episodes are about, just kind of like
The LGBTQ WAP.
Right, and do the
LGBTQ
wet ass pussy. What I think is also tough is like as like quote unquote progress has happened in the last like 10 years or so, it seems like queer people are like way less happy like than they were. I've just been like, because it's like everything is like a personal attack on again their self-worth.
we're wrapping around to doomerism.
Yeah,
It's
doomerism.
like, because things look so bleak worldwide, it's like you're never gonna find like happiness in smaller things that you do. Everything has to be activism, but you burn yourself out on activism based on whatever your identity is, and that's how I felt for a little while, about 4 years ago.
Ayana, of course I know the origin of the word faggot. Like, of course.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I mean, I'm done with that.
Yeah. But basically, like, I forgot my train of thought. Fuck.
Yeah.
Like activism burnout is such a thing, and this is part of doomerism. It's like there are so many problems in the world that you simply cannot do anything to fix. But what you can do is work on local elections, county elections. You can work on individual projects that help create things.
Right.
You know, you can volunteer at a soup kitchen. That would make doomer about the world.
But don't take a picture of yourself there, or else you now have lost the integrity of a selfless act. And that's, I think that, I mean, it's so fucking stupid to say this because but it's true, is that like social media has really accelerated this problem.
Totally.
So
what else do we have to cover? Because we talked about Bella Thorne. That wasn't even in our note. We should talk about the Alex Morse and Ed Markey thing.
Yeah, so Alex Morse lost, which sucks. I don't know by how much, actually, which is, I'm kind of curious to see. Oops, it's not on the screen.
It's not on. How did I end up so far to the left of my camera? Oh, I'm sorry, little dog. I'll just sit on the edge of my stool.
See. So, wait.
All right.
He lost by a lot.
A lot,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. So this guy, Alex Morse, we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yep.
The coordinated attack on his sexuality.
Yeah, which again, like I think a lot of these attacks, because I mean it happened with the guy that was running in Pelosi's district, and it was basically like an Aziz Ansari type accusation. It was just sort of nonsensical and didn't really carry any gravity, but it works because I think people are scared because everything is just conflated with violence. So it's like, again, like an important term like assault doesn't really mean anything, especially because the Democratic establishment doesn't really care about Tara Reade. But then they pretended to care a lot about Blasey Ford. It's like so. Assault is weaponized for political expediency. Sorry.
It's so interesting how the left is now being very pick and choosy with the things that they find important. And that's the same thing that the Christian right was doing in the 2000s and the 90s, where they would pick and choose what was important from the Bible
like Leviticus,
to be part of their policy.
Leviticus
it's really amazing that we've come full circle and the pendulum's not even swinging anymore. It's like somebody's holding it, you know?
I mean, we've talked a lot about how, this, like a lot of people that align with the ideological left are very religious in nature. I mean, there's like tenets, there's original sin, there's all this kind of stuff. And like, to bring up the Bible, Leviticus is the thing that says a man shall not lie with a man. But also in that same verse, it's like you shouldn't eat shellfish and you shouldn't wear mixed fiber clothing. Crazy. And like a lot of these things actually logically made sense during the time period of like, you need people to procreate because people were dying at such young ages. Like shellfish and pigs, like cloven hoofed animals, carry trichinosis, so people were getting sick and dying from eating it. And then I don't know about mixed fiber clothing. I don't know what that one's about, but
I don't either, actually.
But
I should probably look that up. I am a design major.
There's usually a logical explanation because before, there was a law of the land. If you scared them with the law of God, well, then you could make something happen. But anyway, for Alex Morse, so people who worked in the Young Democrats were actively trying to make him out like he was some gay sexual predator, and there was really nothing there that was anything related to that. And so the
coordinated attack comes from a gay twink who has nothing else on his brain except for political gain. In his own life, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but he wanted like a position as an intern with another candidate. And so obviously he's with Richard Neal, right?
Right.
He's going to do whatever he can.
He called himself a Neal Stan.
I'm going to kill myself. This is what it's come to. We should not stan our politicians. They should be people who work for us, not deities. But anyways, this twink And I can say twink because I am one.
No,
I can use it as a derogatory
You
term.
can't, because you need certain friends of a certain type to lecture you every time you have any kind of transgression.
That's it. Actually, I need more twink friends to educate me.
Can you imagine having a friend of any type of thing where every meeting becomes a lecture about everything you say, what you do?
I'd cry, dude.
And that's the thing with it.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like,
I
give me
know.
a fucking break. You're exhausting. You're exhausting to be around, and it's not because of your identity. It's because like, who would want to do that? It's I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But so basically, unfortunately, Alex Morse lost, and probably the attack that was coordinated against him worked to make this happen.
I think that Richard Neal just had he was the incumbent and he had much more money.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I think that's
to
probably
me.
more because Morse actually raised a bunch of money based on when The Intercept broke the story that it was a coordinated attack.
Yeah, but 60,000 votes is a fuck ton for an election in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah, and well, then in more Massachusetts news, a Kennedy lost for the first time in Massachusetts
Fuck yeah. he
to
did.
Ed Markey, who I've tried to do like a little bit of research. I mean, he just seems like good progressive.
I watched a little clip of Kennedy and Markey doing like a little debate stage kind of thing,
Mhm.
and they were asking fun questions. I don't know if you saw this, but they asked, "What's your worst personality trait or whatever?"
Mhm.
And Kennedy is like stumbling over it. He's like, "My feet," and because he like puts his feet on the coffee table or something.
Okay.
And then Markey was like, my wife thinks my worst personality trait is how much I love the Red Sox, all of these Massachusetts sports teams, and he was like, she thinks it's a pathology, but I think I'm very proud to love these things because in Massachusetts you're born a Democrat, a fan of all these sports things, and then 7 days later you get baptized.
Right.
So what comes first? All of the, your identity as a Massachusetts and however you would call them, a person from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. A Mark Wahlberg.
A Wahlbergian.
A Wahlbergian.
That is, I just saw like a 30-second, maybe it's like a minute long clip of that, and the caption was like, "God, Ed Markey, it's Ed, right? Yeah, he is so much better of a politician or better of a speaker than this new Kennedy."
Joe Kennedy, but it's like it's amazing to me too because number one, I saw a funny tweet that like was a zoomed in picture of Kennedy's face, and it like was the thing was like this guy is 36, and then it was retweeted and somebody says you obviously don't know anything about gingers. Because like those true gingers too, like they age. Yeah,
it's like the Irish,
I think it's just like it looks like somebody who's like never moisturized essentially, with a skin type that probably needs to be moisturized a lot. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean it was a nice win also in the sense of like ending dynastic politics, like
oh my God,
because he wasn't a great candidate. And also didn't really offer anything that like
other than his name,
and that's the thing is like and also Pelosi got behind him.
That's
Beto
what makes
got behind
this so
him.
sweet.
Yes,
it's all of these politicians who got behind him based on his dynasty, his legacy.
Yes,
and he failed. But what I've been seeing is like I forget what news outlet it was. They were like congratulating him for ending the decades-long curse on his family of having to go into politics, and I'm like, No. You're an adult. You choose to do this.
He's probably going to just primary Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. Fucking be an artist.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to go into politics and if you have a Kennedy last name, change it.
Right.
And become like a weird artist. You probably have a trust fund that'll last you until 3 generations from now.
Isn't Beto married to a Kennedy?
Oh my fucking God, is he?
And also Patrick Schwarzenegger, who I brought up earlier, is a Kennedy as well.
I don't like the way you say that.
Schwarzenegger.
I don't like the way you emphasize that last part of his life.
Hard R Schwarzenegger. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. That was good news. And then now for some news that really shouldn't make you feel anything, which is kind of what my point is. Like, so this Kyle Rittenhouse thing happened. I think it happened when we did the last one, or had just happened, but we didn't really know anything about it.
Dab is here. Sorry,
hello.
I need to say hi. Hi, Dab. Haven't seen you in a while.
So this Kyle Rittenhouse thing is a Rorschach test, because you're just going to see whatever you want to see. And the truth is, it's not anything. Like, I mean, people died. Like, why the fuck did the mother drive this kid to a city that had been like burning for days like over massive civil unrest over a police shooting.
That's like extreme neglect
with a gun,
putting your child in danger.
It's crazy. So there's that end of it. Nobody is good here. Nobody's good, and it's like, so. But it's so crazy to me that it's such a litmus test based on what you're consuming to make you feel a certain way about it, because you shouldn't feel either side. You shouldn't feel good about either side on of this. You shouldn't really feel that those people got murdered for no reason because, dummy that got his bicep blown off took to the news after it happened to say that he was hoping he could use the gun that was in his hand to blow the kid's head off. I was listening to some lawyers talk about this, and like in Wisconsin, if you grab the barrel of a gun or you touch it, you're not technically unarmed anymore. But it's like, who fucking cares? Like, the reality is, like, so I was telling you before we started, Andy No posts all the on Twitter, posts all like the mugshots of the people that get arrested in Portland. I'm not making a call on his character. I think he's a doughy idiot, but it's like,
it's not an endorsement.
No, it's not an endorsement, but it's just what he does, and I think he's an interesting follow just to kind of see, well, what's the other side up to. But there's this like weird dead affect on all of them, which I kind of had the thought of, like, between maybe not Rittenhouse because he's young enough to where I can kind of excuse, but definitely his parents, and then also all these people that the two guys that died, and then there's some sort of sociopathic ideation that makes you want to go to these things. Like, and it's interesting because like some of the loudest voices I've heard talking about or have seen talking about how this is going to overthrow this tyrannical system are people that are smart enough to not go participate in it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have a death wish and a pretty low regard for human life, even on a monetary level, to go and participate in this. It's just objectively true. And again, it's like, this isn't even a value judgment on the merit of them. And so this Kyle Rittenhouse story is not a fucking story.
Right. You'll see what you want to see in it. Right.
And take the Trump guy that got shot in Portland too. Like, I have seen people saying that he got murdered, and I've also seen people trying to justify what happened to him based on things the Patriot Prayer group was saying before it happened. And it's like, I don't care. Like, if you go to these things and bad things happen to you, it's gonna happen. I mean, you're literally entering a domestic war zone. So it's like you clearly have very little value for your own life, and then simultaneously you have very little value for other people's, and it's all based on this like entrenched tribal bullshit of political stuff, how everyone wears their politics as fucking fashion. And so it's just dumb.
This and another thing that we're going to talk about has like made me, this is what sent me into my doomer spiral. It's like the world is irredeemable.
Yeah.
Like there are things about the way our news cycle covers stuff like this, and it just makes me so depressed.
But it's interesting. So like the
because there's no like dedication to truth anymore, and there's no factual reporting. Everything is some kind of editorial or op-ed, whatever.
Yeah, well, because everyone is weaponizing these things to not tell the news. It's like, because there aren't any journalists anymore. Everyone's just a pundit. Mm-hmm. And so because these issues, either if you take Trump's Law and Order thing, or like these are mostly peaceful protests on CNN with a building burning behind the guy, it's like neither of you are really telling the truth about what's going on, but it doesn't benefit you or your political cause or your paycheck to tell the truth. And so I'm not doomery about it, just because if you really think about it, again, because I do really truly believe that people that choose to especially get in a fucking car and drive over state lines, which a lot of the people that participate in this stuff are from out of state or out of the area, or at the very least out of the city,
including Kyle Rittenhouse,
and also a lot of the people who participated in the looting in the initial like George Floyd protests were not from the area.
Yeah.
And it's like, because you wouldn't really attack a business of somebody you knew in your community, but a sociopath who travels to go there would do that.
We've said this before, I believe, or maybe I'm just misremembering, but there is the type of person who will take advantage of a dark situation to better or to get something.
Right.
They'll go to a place like they'll go to the site where George Floyd was killed, and they will loot there because it's chaos,
Right.
you know? They will go to incite chaos for their own personal gain.
Right.
But it's that kind of person, like you said, who has these sociopathic tendencies because nothing to them is truly important about the actual cause.
And exactly. And I think that like they are enacting their own, they have found a lane through which they can get out this energy that they have in a violent way. And so, and this is it's on both ends of the ideological spectrum.
Yeah.
And it's a very specific, because again, it's like anybody who supports either side and says that either side's doing a good thing here, none of them go. I can't even tell you like how many, like, so when we went to the protests, which we were on ground zero day, like, and so
The Sunday after it happened, I believe.
and I think I've said this before in another one, but it's safe to, or it's good to reiterate, like 30% of the people that were there were agitators. They were not there to protest in the name of George Floyd. Most people there to do the right thing, but the police took a fuckload of abuse before swarming us with APC vehicles and tear gassing us. But it's like I knew it was coming. Like it was like a tension, and the people shooting the fireworks in particular, it was like you are agitating them to get them to react, and they got what they wanted.
We had as we were approaching the protests from like actually pretty far away, an older black woman came up to us and said like, don't go that direction.
Yeah.
She was advising us not to go look. Of course, we still did for the sake of whatever.
Because it was historically important to participate, and also we kind of wanted to like take the temperature on it. And I think that like I really am frustrated with people who are giving hot takes on this on either side that didn't go.
Yeah.
Because you would see that it's not, if you're on the ideological left end of the spectrum, it's not what you think it was. And there are agitators there that really don't care about social justice, that are there to just fuck shit up. And then there are plenty of people that are there to do the right thing. But today, none of these people are there for social justice.
I think like now it just, something as big as a protest like that makes people feel like they're a part of something important. And like we just said, it was important to history, so we were there. But as these things stretch out and nothing is changing, nothing's getting any better, for some reason people still think that they're a part of something big and important. And yet no change has been made. No senators have been kidnapped, you know?
Right. And they're being used. I mean, they're being, the people that like have good intentions truly on either side. I mean, not to be a fence sitter, but it's like, I do think that like, you know, you have a lot of conservatives that are scared, and so they're rooting because they think this is a larger problem than it is. And that's the kind of thing I wanted about the Doomer thing. This isn't that many people. Yeah. Most people are like, nope, not even going to touch this. And I think most people aren't even really speaking to their friends about it, honestly, because it's so ideologically charged, and it shouldn't be. It's like, because again, nobody is out in the streets for the name of the person that died. It's not about that anymore. Or to quote unquote, I'm a lifeguard with EMT training and I'm here to like keep businesses safe, which was Rittenhouse's excuse. And it's like, nah, you brought a gun there, or your parents advised you poorly to bring a gun there because with the intention, like, you don't bring a gun to these things without the intention to use it. You're hoping you get to.
Fucking exactly.
And this is somebody who is a responsible gun owner saying this. It's like, you don't enter a conflict zone with a weapon. Like anybody, I have friends that have CCWs in state that allow them like concealed carry permits, and they say their worst nightmare is having to use it. Yeah. And
it should be the last resort.
It should be always.
But when you're a 17-year-old kid, that is not the logic that you have.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. I thought maybe he thinks he's in a video game or something.
Well, that's exactly it.
And it's like, and I know video games don't cause violence or whatever, but there is that one case that showed that, you know, that sparked all of this idea that video games cause violence. Back in the 2000s, they were playing GTA or something, and like 3 dudes murdered somebody. That's the one case that had happened. Mm-hmm. But he's 17. He has no sense of reality. He has no idea what it's like to be an adult and make informed decisions.
I mean, even when we were at the protests, like I don't mean this like in an offensive way, but it's like I had just enough years on you to know how people were going to start reacting.
Things were going to get bad.
To leave. Like, we need to get the fuck out of here right now. And a 17-year-old could have no concept of that. And also, so that's why I place a lot of the blame on his parents of like, you're sending a kid who's going to be the minority ideologically into an active war zone, essentially. who's vastly outnumbered with a weapon that he's going to inevitably have to use. And so it's so crazy. But again, like, I just hate that he's become this political lightning rod over a story that really isn't useful for either side. And neither is the guy who got shot in Portland. Like, none of it.
Right. It's not like Kyle Rittenhouse did anything correct to make him a hero, like DCK says, like John says, about like a hero on the right. You know, he did nothing to be a responsible gun owner. He did nothing to be, you know, somebody who was defending the values of the right. He did nothing responsibly. And so he should not be worshipped by the right, but also he should not be villainized by the left because he's a child and his parents allowed him to do this.
Right.
His parents should be
His mom
locked
drove
up
him
for
there.
sure.
And
he should be, you know, punished accordingly.
Of
but
course.
yeah.
And the hero worship thing is also done by people who know they're not telling the truth. Like, the narrative is created by pundits who know they're lying. And Trump too. I mean, Trump's totally guilty of this. So it's like, because I don't think
and we do it with
he's
children
made some comments
so
about it.
often.
Of course. I mean,
we've got Nick Sandman, we've got Greta Thunberg,
Yeah.
we've got Desmond is amazing. We've got like Lactatia,
Right.
all of these child drag queens, whatever. We've got all of these people on both the left and the right who are children who are completely impervious to criticism because they're children,
Right.
who uphold the values of a good Republican or a good Democrat,
Right.
you know?
Yep. And
Really crazy.
and then we're, we're all caught in the middle. If somebody who's kind of awake to how much we're being gaslit, like, you know, on the right, being that this kid's a hero, on the left, these are peaceful protests still, they're not. It's like, the unfortunate part is, like, no one wants to hear that. Like, that's the tough part about even saying this, is like, I know that it'll piss people off because they only want to listen to people that are going to validate how they're feeling in the current moment.
Yeah.
And because it's not really fun to kind of just be like, ugh, this is not good. This is just not good. It's not good, period.
Yeah.
And none of this is good. None of it's good. The cops are not good. Like, this is all bad. It's just all so bad.
Speaking of cops not being good,
Yeah.
we should talk about that. So a few months back, what is his name? Andres Guardado.
Yeah.
He was killed by police as a security guard at this an auto shop, right?
Yes.
So he was a security guard at this auto shop. He was killed a few months back. And now things are coming out about so this is in Compton, or Gardena rather, which is not far off.
It happened in Gardena, but I think the cops were from the Compton.
Compton County or whatever.
Well, I mean, Compton's LA County, but like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Compton's jurisdiction or something.
The Compton jail is the one I actually got put in.
Holy shit.
I got arrested.
Good for you.
Anyway, yep.
I live basically a few minutes from Compton.
Yeah, not far at all.
I mean, we don't have to. Well, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
let's
it's important.
At the Compton Sheriff's Station, it's called a ghost gun, a weapon a deputy says he spots on a suspect, but that is never found when colleagues respond to the scene and search for it. That's because the call-out is based on a lie. The deputy didn't actually see a gun, but his suspect could turn out to be armed, and an arrest or recovered firearm could pad his reputation. It's the kind of behavior that plays out regularly at the station, according to a whistleblower who worked there for 5 years and recounted other sensational allegations in a recent deposition obtained by the Times in a federal civil rights lawsuit. This is a quote. In reality, they've never seen the gun, LA County Sheriff's Deputy Ostroberto Gonzalez said under oath.
I've never seen that name before. Ostroberto.
Ostreberto. And then at the end, when their containments are set up, the gun is never recovered. They'll call it a day and say, "Thank you for rolling. We're going to call it." And a gun was never recovered.
So this is the crazy part.
Gonzalez says the scheme is employed by Compton by tattooed deputies who call themselves the Executioners, a clandestine gang many say runs the station. His allegations add to a growing body of information about the Compton clique, one of several tattooed deputy groups within the Sheriff's Department with names such as the Grim Reapers, Bandidos, and Jump Out Boys. The Sheriff's Department has been aware of the groups for decades, but has struggled to crack down despite repeated internal independent investigations.
That's why it never happens.
Internal.
Internal independent. You're never going to make any progress.
That should be illegal.
It should be, yeah.
In which members are accused of misconduct.
Because I mean, and this was a valid argument before it all went to shit and people don't care anymore because like the message has been lost of like cops should not be above the law that we have to face as citizens, obviously. And these internal investigations yield terrible results every time because they feel loyalty to helping their comrades out and whatever. So
yeah. Gonzalez's statements were introduced in an excessive force lawsuit filed against the sheriff's department by Sheldon Lockett. The judge hearing the case cited the evidence when tentatively deciding to advance the case for trial. Accepting the deputy's testimony, there is evidence that the clique existed in Compton and that it routinely violated the rights of suspects, Magistrate Judge Patrick J. Walsh said in his ruling. The testimony also establishes that the command staff at the station knew about it and not only did not stop it, but encouraged the behavior and placed its members in positions of authority where they could help other members.
Yeah. Yep.
And I believe, I'm not sure if it says it in this article, but I think 2 other people working at the station came forward to back up these claims by Gonzalez to say that, yes, there is a gang that basically runs the station.
Right.
They call themselves the Executioners. Oh, yeah. In his deposition, Gonzalez identified Miguel Vega, the Compton station deputy who killed 18-year-old Andres Guardado. That was correct. In a shooting in June that sparked weeks of protests, and his partner, Chris Hernandez, as prospective members of the Executioners. Their attorney said Wednesday that those allegations are false.
Of course. Yeah.
Deputy Vega does not have one single tattoo on his body, much less a deputy gang tattoo. He doesn't have one, nor does he plan on getting one, says the attorney. The Sheriff's Department said in a statement that it had not yet received the transcript of Gonzalez's testimony. Once we do, counsel will review and we can respond appropriately. Excuse me. County attorneys have argued that Gonzalez's testimony about the about the Executioners was nothing more than speculation and conjecture, as he's not in the group and has no personal knowledge about it.
And then
this one is crazy. Lockett alleges he was targeted by deputies chasing Inc. when he said he was beaten and falsely arrested for attempted murder in 2016. His attorney said he sued in 2018. Basically, what chasing Inc. is you use force, excessive force, end up killing somebody,
yep,
and you get initiated into this police gang, and you get a tattoo as an executioner.
So, fortunately for this guy, he doesn't have any tattoos, but he probably was about to get one.
Yeah, dude. He was probably waiting for all this to blow over, to be like, yeah, I fucking skated by, and I killed this kid.
Yeah, so a story that should be focused on much more than what's... It just seems like the ones that, like, really set fire... are always ones that are like not as clear cut, like Fernando Castillo, obvious. I mean, just such an obvious slam dunk for Black Lives Matter and for like any sort of like reform or change. And on the right, like the NRA should have gotten ahead of that. Like that was a perfect slam dunk for the NRA being they should have. It was such a shame, and it just proved that the NRA is pretty racist. So to me, it just. I don't know. Yeah, this is like massively dark, and I'm and not surprised either. I mean,
police gangs exist.
Of course.
Here's your evidence.
Yeah, and it's like, you can. The thing is like, in every organization we're human, so you're gonna have fucking shitty, awful humans. But the problem is with groups like this, like police forces in particular, and politicians, is like they have immunity that the public does not get to enjoy.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially if you're a new recruit and you enter a toxic police force like this, you're going to make a choice between losing your job and your pension by whistleblowing, which probably will either get you probably killed or like. Yeah. So
I believe I read somewhere actually that Gonzalez is hiding out at home now with like security around his house.
Yeah.
Because he's worried about the repercussions of him being a whistleblower.
Security that could be linked to the people that he's hiding from. It's just,
that's true.
It puts you in a terrifying prospect. And so like that's the culture that needs to die, obviously. And this is obviously a really extreme example of it, but even minor examples, like cops seeing other cops as just cops and not as humans that are infallible, and like the loyalty needs to go out the window if you see something egregious.
Oh, it's like that person that Joe Rogan interviewed, the police psychologist.
Oh yeah.
From Fullerton here in California. I forget her name, unfortunately, but she's a professor at Cal State Fullerton, I believe, and she basically teaches psychology. And she was talking about how policemen, in particular, end up losing their home identity because they go into overtime at work. They put in 80 to 90 hours at the police station, and they lose track of who they are at home. They lose their wife, their family. They lose not like physically, but spiritually. They lose that part of their life because they're spending so much time at the station with their boys, the good old boys club.
Yep.
They become somebody else at a police station. And it really allows them to abuse their power. It allows them to feel as though that this is who they are, that they are the enforcers of the law, that they're doing something good. But it ends up with things like this, the good old boys club, or the gang,
Right.
as we might call it, that ends up executing Andres Guardado. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's and again, this isn't as if like gangs or cliques don't exist in everything, and some of them get to like dark shit, and then like, you know, especially if you're an easily manipulated person, it's easy to recruit. I mean, it's like why like white supremacists exist, or like even something as that's benevolent.
That is one note.
Yes.
Just
Yeah, even things that are benevolent, like
Yeah.
like AA. Like when I got sober years ago and like went to like 2 or 3 meetings, I was like, you know, for 3.5 years I was sober, but I only went to like 2 meetings because I'm like, oh, this is for somebody who is searching for like a self purpose, and it's great that they're here and they found this group that like, you know, is about service and trying to live a better life. But it's been fascinating to me, and it's really become more clear to me over the last few years of how, I've said it a million times, but in the wake of religion leaving a lot of people's lives, I was hoping that people could find self-fulfillment, and they just cannot, and they need to find some sort of religious ideology or bent in order to like feel fulfilled. And so, but a lot of times these things end up being antagonistic. And so I think it's it's just what this stuff is.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
anyway, that's it
Yeah,
from us.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right,
I'm starving.
Yeah.
Let's get some chicken.
let's get some chicken. I love you all.
Love you guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.